Is your child entitled to playing video games for as long as they want and whenever they want? If so, and you want to create some boundaries around video game usage, you're going to love this message. I'm Samantha Moe, certified Mad to Glad parent coach. And what we're going to talk about today is how to set up an agreement so that your child doesn't feel entitled to do whatever they want regarding video games. It's really interesting these days how kids feel like it's a natural right to have video games when really it's a privilege. And most of us can think back to when we were kids and recognize that we didn't have smartphones. Even in my generation, I didn't even have cell phones when I was younger, much less the iPads and the tablets and all these other cool things that kids can be plugged into. So what you want to do is you want to be proactive in setting guidelines, because if your child's entitled, oftentimes that means they've been given so much freedom with video games, and you might use a lot of logic and let them know that games are a privilege. But if your actions don't match your words, meaning you can tell them that they shouldn't be entitled and it's a privilege and they have to earn them. But if your actions don't match your words and you haven't actually created a structured agreement with them on what they need to do to earn this privilege, then they are going to feel entitled. So here's something that you can do with your kids if they're elementary age or older, is you can hold a family meeting where you just mention what's not working. So you can say something like, you know what, it feels kind of stressful when you ask for video games, you don't ask very nicely. Or you could say, I realize it's stressful when it's time to turn the video games off. So you reference a negative and then you reference a positive. What I would like is for things to feel more peaceful and easy around video games. Would you like that? So they'll say, yes, of course. And then you'll say, what we need are some agreements around using the video games. And here you can insert a little logic. You can say that video games are a privilege, but don't go overboard here. We're not using a lot of logic in teaching in this family meeting. Then what you can do is you can identify 5 top areas that need to be met, or 5 expectations that need to be met in order for them to earn their screen time for the day. So the 5 categories that you can choose from are behavioral related. So maybe you have a rule of, as long as there's no swearing, you can earn your video games for the day. The second category could be something around household chores or responsibilities. So maybe that is, as long as you have your bed made or you've taken out the recyclables for the day, that also allows you to earn your screen time. The third category could be something around academics, and whether that's school year or summertime, getting a certain amount of homework done or a certain amount of reading in allows them to earn video games. The fourth category is health and movement related. So this is something like, as long as you've gotten some movement in, you've gone swimming, you've done your sensory diet, if your child has specific moves given to them by the OT or the chiropractor. And then the fifth category could be something around community or social relationships. So this could be something like you've done FaceTime with your grandma for the day, or something else that would be easy to put on a chart that's recurring. So it could just be 5 minutes of connection time with somebody outside of our house every single day. When you create these expectations, it allows your child to have a more full daily life, so they don't just get sucked into the rabbit hole of screens and video games. Now, the other 2 bonus guidelines that you want to be aware of is that when it's time for your child to play video games, they don't just have free access to them. So they need to ask nicely. And sometimes parents will lock the electronics in a drawer, or they'll put passwords on it, which is completely fine to do because, after all, it's a privilege. And then finally, you also want to include in your agreement that when it's time to turn the video games off, and it doesn't have to be the 30 or 60 minutes, if you truly feel okay with your child playing 4 hours of video games or being on screens or surfing the internet, But the guideline is when it's time to turn them off, then they actually listen. What happens is if any of these agreements are not followed, then you just say something simple like, as soon as these agreements are met, you earn your video game time. And if they don't earn them, or they don't turn their game off nicely, or they haven't done their movement time and bedtime has rolled around and there's really no more time for video games, and it's been a rough day for everybody in this case, because you've stuck to your agreement, which is key to this working, then you just say something really kind like, I can see that this was a tough day around video games and we can try again tomorrow. So with that, I encourage you to set some guidelines around video game usage. Here at Mad to Glad, we are offering a free webinar called Free Your Family from Electronic Addictions. It's coming up very soon, so please check the link below. We would love to have you there. We're going to talk about how it affects your child's brain, some practical strategies so that you can calm some of that intensity in their brain that screen time can elicit. And we're going to answer the very popular question of, is there a healthy way to access electronics? So we hope to see you at that webinar. And until then, enjoy the rest of your day. Bring some peace and enjoyment into your family dynamic. Bye-bye.